You like that? That's how I always reaffirm myself. Give me another one.
Tony Bruno.
See? Give me another one.
Tony Bruno.
You say it real fast now?
Tony Bruno.
Nice. You say it real slow now?
Tony Bruno.
Can you get deeper?
Deeper.
You're a bad man. You're a bad man.
Tony Bruno.
Tony Bruno. And now.
Oh, Tony Bruno.
Stop it!
Here is Tony Bruno.
Hey, kids. Are we on? Robin, once
Yes,
again.
we are on.
Because she watches TV down here at night.
Where's the damn remote?
Jeez. Is this how this Friday show is going to start?
Yes.
I got somebody else's show on my feed here on our Twitch.tv, BrunoNation Live. Hello, welcome. Are you ready, kids? What are you supposed to say, Robin?
Yes, Uncle Tony, we're ready. I don't know what it is.
No, that's not what you're supposed to say.
What are we
Ryan Hassey's here from
I'm
the
ready.
fifth quarter. Are you ready, kids?
I'm ready to rumble.
That's not the right answer.
What is the right answer?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh, from SpongeBob.
Are you ready? Maybe I should have done it like
Yes.
this. Are you ready, kids?
That's better. Aye, aye, Captain.
Thank you.
There we go. Is that better?
Oh, who lives in the basement on South Philly? Tony SquarePants. It doesn't work that way. Nobody can ever replace SpongeBob. Hello, it's Friday, May 3rd. We are coming to you from the epicenter of where sports matters, South Philadelphia, my hometown, where last night the Philadelphia 76ers put on a national display, an international display of basketball greatness. Joel Embiid. If you didn't know who he was before last night, you probably haven't been paying attention to basketball and you don't care. But if you saw him last night on ESPN and the highlights, I have now created a new hashtag. I want to get this trending. I'm not a guy who hey, let's get this trending. But today I'm going to be one of those guys that says, hey, let's get this trending. There's all kinds of trends. Here they come if you're a Sixer fan. Philly, unite. Ryan Hassey, now you
No,
do.
it's not Philly. It's
Philadelphia.
Phila. Unite.
Yeah, but we say Philly unite, but the actual hashtag is PHILA unite.
Correct.
I've been trying to unite this city for 60 years. You think they're paying attention? Finally, Ryan Hassey, who started out as an intern for us on the podcast, now has moved on to bigger and better things, still does his own podcast, The Fifth Quarter, right?
You bet.
Would that be overtime? Can you call it overtime if it's the fifth quarter?
Yeah, I guess so. Something that symbolizes us is we have the PH for Philadelphia, so we kind of came up with that about 2 years ago.
That's awesome. The fifth quarter. It's like the 19th hole.
Exactly.
Except there's no alcohol on the fifth quarter, is there?
Well, it depends. Sometimes we'll bring in some Jack Daniels if we're celebrating a big win, like last night. We would have some Jack Daniels if it was our show today.
You know what we say today on this show, though? Robin?
Yes.
You don't have my machine. Oh, I don't have it plugged in. I'm sorry. I unplugged it to get it ready.
Ha. See what I have to deal with, folks?
You have to deal. I get ready upstairs, and then I come down here like 20 minutes before the show, and I expect everything to be ready. Do you see like hosts coming down and setting the cameras and getting the mic? No, you come down, you sit down, you prepare, and you do the show. But that's what you do when you're starting this up. So
That's the fact, Jack.
it would have worked better 30 seconds ago. But anyway, we're underway. We're going to have a fun Friday. Freaky Friday, Friday feelings, and all the other stuff. So here's the hashtag I want everybody to get trending. Embeast. E-M-E-M-B-E-A-S-T.
E-M.
E-M. Instead of Embiid, which is E-M-B-I-I-D.
Right.
It's Embeast. You like that one?
I do.
And I want credit for it. Got the reel in the background, people, because this is not like a fake studio. Everything in here is real, and some of it's spectacular. We want to welcome everybody on Twitch.tv, BrunoNation Live. Our Instagram followers now joining in. All of our followers everywhere. Twitter, wherever you are, go to twitch.tv/BrunoNation Live. You can watch the show live every day. You can subscribe. You make sure you follow first and foremost, all right? First and foremost, follow the show on twitch.tv,
Right.
BrunoNation Live.
And for those of you who are tuning in on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook Live, we're doing like a switch and bait on you.
no, it's a bait and switch.
Bait and switch?
But we're not
Bait
baiting
and
and
switch.
switching anything. We're
No, no,
doing like
no.
an HBO preview. You know, on all the cable channels, this weekend there's going to be a preview. You get all these channels, you get to watch all their shows with the hopes of subscribing. You don't even have to subscribe to watch this show, but obviously we'd like you to subscribe so that we can keep doing things better and better every single day,
Correct.
adding more cameras and other important accoutrements.
I know, because now, because of the subscribers that we already have, we are now going to be able to buy another camera. Isn't that fantastic?
It's like we're building, it's like a Build-A-Bear studio, except you don't get your kids to go in there
Right.
and annoy you and say, oh, Mommy, I want that. And then you spend $300 building a damn bear when you could have bought your own damn bear for like $50 and a really good one. But again, I love building. We built this, we built the
Yep.
wine cellar ourselves.
And so
Well, Luigi Curto helped a little, but he did
Yeah.
mostly the grunt work.
and it's kind of like all of you who are listening are part of
The family.
the part of the family, part of the corporation,
The
and
umbrella.
and so you know you're all helping.
Exactly.
You have a stake in it,
Exactly right.
because if you want to laugh every day, you got to make it work. You got to make it happen and help us make it happen.
Exactly. And so we're underway. We got a lot of stuff today. Obviously, basketball. My friends from ESPN are in town doing the games. Last night, if you watched the game, you know what happened. Joel Embiid went off 33, 10, and 5. 33 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. And I saw the stat afterwards. There's only 2 people in the modern NBA era who have had 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Joel Embiid is 2 of them. There's only 3 people that have done this in the modern era. So that's how dominant this guy is. He's so dominant. And I talked the other day about when people overhype things or make things sound like they're over after one game. Remember I told you about Paul Pierce after Milwaukee lost game
yeah.
1. He said it was over. After the Houston Rockets lost game 1, a couple of analysts said they may be right on that one, though. That one is over, I think. I don't think there's any way the Houston Rockets are coming back and winning that series against the Warriors, but we'll see. They're down 0-2. Sixers were down 0-1, and people thought the Sixers didn't have a chance to even win a game. They're going to get swept. You know, they can't stop anybody on Toronto. And now here we are after 3 games. The Sixers have found a way not only to, because they're not going to stop Kawhi Leonard. I mean, the guy is a monster. He's one of the best players in basketball. He's one of the best players maybe in the last 6 years in this league who doesn't get the attention that he deserves, but he's a guy who can do anything on the floor. But when we found out that while he still does amazing things, the 76ers are a deeper, better team, which after game 1 we didn't think that was possible. But now the Sixers with Embiid and Jimmy Butler, you know, their starting 5, which didn't play a lot together because of injuries, they've come together now and they've become a force on both ends of the floor. And so last night, dominant performance on the game on ESPN. Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy, who we played the clip of the other day, the anniversary of Jeff Van Gundy, who was the coach of the New York Knicks back in the day when he rode Alonzo Mourning's leg across the floor in that big throwdown where nobody landed a punch, but a lot of punches were thrown. That's one of the funniest moments in NBA basketball history. So Jeff Van Gundy's broadcasting now. And you know, a lot of people think he looks like. Remember the movie Ghost? The guy with the bald head, the creepy guy? Not that Jeff Van Gundy's creepy, but he looks like the guy that was in Ghost. If you look at Jeff, do a side-by-side comparison.
I don't remember.
I believe that gentleman's no longer with us. The actor, he had a bald head, he had the hair, missing hair in the middle.
Oh yeah,
and he was sort of weird looking.
Yeah. He was one of the other ghosts.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And people
he was
always
the
said he
angry.
looks like
he was
Jeff.
the poltergeist.
Exactly. He said everybody said he looked like Jeff Van Gundy. And so Jeff Van Gundy, the guy from Ghost, NBA coach, obviously does a good job. This is my favorite moment last night, watching the game. Unlike, the favorite moments besides Joel Embiid flying and shimmying and doing all the other things, which some people, by the way, think was showing up the other team. That's ridiculous. He wasn't showing anybody up. The scoreboard was showing up the Toronto Raptors, not Joel Embiid. And we always argue about the players aren't allowed to have fun. He wasn't getting in people's faces. He was just having a great time. The building was electric. And I said this when I was watching it and tweeted it out and put it on Instagram last night during the game. I watched a lot of basketball. I don't remember feeling that kind of excitement and intensity in a building or even watching it on TV about this team I mean, you got to go back to Allen Iverson. Remember, this team went to the Eastern Conference Finals, Doug Collins, before they started the tank and the rebuild and the whole process thing. But last night, watching it, if you're even a basketball fan, forget about Sixer fan, because a lot of people don't like the Sixers. Celtics fans don't. But as a basketball purist, someone who appreciates greatness when you see it, Joel Embiid has been great, and he's obviously getting better. I mean, he's not even close to how good he can be, because he can do everything. He can defend, he can take it to the rack, and he can stand back, and Jimmy Butler was employing him to keep shooting the threes. He was feeling it. So, normally you say, don't shoot threes, but they were so far ahead in that fourth quarter that Jimmy Butler, who they've had mic'd, is saying, go ahead, man, keep shooting them. Just stand back there and shoot them. If they're not going to guard you, take the shots because you can make them. And obviously, Joel Embiid's not going to shoot 70% from three-point territory every single night.
I mean, like when you got it.
It was a special night. But this is how overreaction works in sports. We do it here. I know Ryan does it on his fifth quarter podcast.
We know Luigi definitely does
Luigi overreacts to anything, mostly negative. If it's
and
negative, he really loves it.
Yes, and I say this because I know he's listening.
I know he is, and he's on the board right now. But the thing is, we all have a tendency. Obviously, strappers who do podcasts, including myself. I'm a strapper, but I've been a strapper long enough to get a little bit more respect because I've
By the way, I might have to bar somebody. They just said F you.
To me?
No.
Oh, to who? To you or me?
Luigi did. And Luigi, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to write it. We will not have any of that kind of
We may have to ban one of our own people from our own stream chat. Oh. It's an outrage.
It is an outrage.
We haven't banned anybody. Imagine banning somebody that works with you.
I almost banned somebody yesterday. Came real close.
We don't want to be banning you. That was Vincent Schiavelli, Luigi points out. And this is a good catch. Vincent Schiavelli was the guy in Ghost, the actor who looks like Jeff Van Gundy.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so, but we'll check.
Before my time.
You never watched Ghost?
I never watched. I don't know what Ghost is.
Oh man, I hate to do it to you this early. It's not like it's one of those movies that no one's ever heard of and you can't be, and it's on TV all the time.
Patrick Swayze and
Whoopi Goldberg.
I know who they are.
Yeah.
So Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, and it has one of the sexiest pottery.
Yeah, the
scenes
pottery
ever.
throwing scene where she's throwing a pot. That's what they call it when you put it on the wheel. You're throwing pottery, and then he goes behind her and wraps his arm. This is before it was cool. This is before it was bad. Before Joe Biden was smelling women's hair, we had Ghost, and Ryan. What's not Ryan? Who's the guy who wraps his hands around it? The great actor who's no longer Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Sexy scene, and they play the Righteous Brothers in there, right?
So good.
I mean, it's one of the greatest movie scenes of all time. In fact, it's the only movie scene I remember from Ghost because I didn't really pay attention to most of the rest. But I do remember the dude, the other Ghost, the actor who looks like Jeff. That's why I brought him up. Not because I'm watching Ghost this weekend.
See how we go around in a big circle and we come back.
So,
and just so that I don't forget, because there's so many of them that are happening, I want to thank everybody that just started following. Angel Gonzo 4887, Philly Matt 8161. Thank you.
And thank you to all our new followers. And tell your friends.
Mojo Rising 85 also.
My mojo's rising. That's not the only thing that was rising last night. I mean, that Sixer game was fun to watch, not because I'm a homer and not because I just root for the 76ers. People think I don't root for the 76ers. That's the amazing thing. I've been rooting for this team since the 60s. When I was a young punk kid, young teenager, I was watching the 76ers, the 67 team, the greatest team, I think, of all time. And so I love basketball, and I love great basketball. And now that we're in the playoffs, we're seeing guys elevate, so to speak. But last night, during the game, Joel Embiid's putting on his absolute freak show. He's dominating. Everybody's talking about it.
Literally.
And so on the broadcast with Mike Breen on ESPN, Mark Jackson, and, of course, the great Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson did something that a lot of fans would do. Not, seasoned coaches and former great players and former coaches.
Moment.
He proclaimed that Joel Embiid could become the greatest big man ever to play during the game, and then that led to this exchange where Jeff Van Gundy now has provided us new sound effects that we can insert into our board for future use. It's been used by many people, but not this emphatically as Jeff Van Gundy did it last night on ESPN. Let's go to the tape.
Whoops. Darn it.
You knew that I was setting that up.
I was right there, and then it went.
Hold on. Pump the brakes. No, pump your brakes. Are you? No. Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robertson, Patrick Ewing. Pump your brakes.
The evidence is in front of us, barring injury.
See, I love that, because the good thing about that kind of hyperbole and fun, those guys are having fun, and usually in a game in the fourth quarter that's out of hand, luckily the game was out of hand and it was in Philly and the fans were, because remember the Brooklyn Nets final game where the 76ers blew them out from Jump Street, Ryan, you remember that? Mm-hmm. And it was in Philly and it was an elimination game. The Sixers blew them out. But in the second quarter, if you're watching on TV and you want to see an exciting game, it doesn't matter who you're following. You're watching a game and it's a 35-point blowout. It's harder for the announcers to keep the intensity level going. What are they going to say? That was Spiro Didi's doing that game. And he was like, it's hard to keep the intensity. People are tuning out. People aren't watching in a game that's completely out of hand. So last night in the fourth quarter, these guys were having fun when Mark Jackson said that Joel Embiid, if he stays healthy, could be the greatest big man of all time. He might. I mean, how can you say he's not? How do you say he doesn't have a chance? He's already doing things that no other big man has done. So again, that's fun. That's hyperbole. That's going out on the limb. But I don't have a problem with that. Even if he's wrong. But the fact that Jeff Van Gundy reacted with the pump the brakes multiple times.
Yes.
That was fun.
Pump
that
the
was fun.
brakes. Pump
now, have
the
you ever
brakes.
said pump the brakes?
I've not. Is that a term that was old school? Like,
No.
This is going now.
Look at him dissing.
Are you? Wait a minute. Pump the brakes. Not so fast, my friend.
By the way, I need to explain it to everybody because people are commenting on the faceless voice.
Yes.
Because I have the camera angle.
I know, Ryan. Has nothing to
it's
do
my
with me.
fault.
Poor Ryan is in here, a man who works at one of our favorite locations, Switchboard.live.
This is how you are seeing it. Yes, we are on Twitch, but it's because of Switchboard.live that we can bring you. We can send us to multiple locations, all at the same time.
Exactly right.
Because we like doing things at the same time.
And Ryan was a listener. And he became a fan, and then he was an intern on the show.
Right, because he was going to Temple, and he needed to get an internship, and so he interned for us for a little bit. And then when he graduated, he sent out a, hey, I'm looking for work. And we already loved Switchboard and had Rudy on, and we knew how fantastic they were. And so just on the off chance, I said, hey, Rudy, you looking for any new employees? I know that you guys are growing. And he said, oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, have him come on down and I'll interview him. And boom.
Young Ryan went down there, even though he looks like he's 12.
Hey,
he is an
let's
adult.
Watch it, Tony.
Now, how old are you now?
I think I'm 23.
23. So,
I think I
but
am.
you get carded, right? Is there any doubt?
You know what? I actually don't get carded, and I should, right? There's only been one bar that's ever carded me.
Really?
In my entire
I
life.
think it's the facial hair.
That's
know what?
There's a purpose for this because I gotta stay
If you
at
did-
my level. I can't get hired at any of these places with no facial hair.
If he didn't have the facial hair, he would look 12.
No, he still looks 12. And that's not an insult.
No. I'm saying that with the facial hair, you kind of assume that, yeah, you look like you're 12, but no 12-year-old can grow facial hair, so he must be older.
No, I know 12
Right.
years old. I know 12, especially girls. I know a lot of girls, 12-year-old girls in South Philly who grow facial hair easily. But it's hereditary. I mean, and they shave when
They
they're young.
only
and they-
have that over their lip, though.
Exactly.
It's not, on the sides.
Ryan Hasse,
Yep.
now working at Switchboard Live, doing his own podcast, so you can see
And I believe
how you can advance. If you have any association with the Tony Bruno name and the franchise, you eventually move on to greatness.
And this is a generational fan because Ryan's dad started listening before you did, right?
Yeah, so he brought me out to you guys when I just got to Temple, and I'll be real, I didn't know anything about you, and he brought me out.
Wait a minute, did you not know Madden 05, 06, and how old were you in 05?
I wasn't I was 5 apparently to you. I'm
No, I
13
don't know.
now.
I'm asking you
So-
now. Wait a minute, you're going to give me an
I was
attitude
5.
now, Ryan? I'm giving you major love, putting you on a major broadcast entity?
It must be something with the seat. Because when Luigi's sitting there, he does the same thing.
No, my dad, yes, he did bring me out. And
No, because you grew up in the Amish country, right?
right, I'm not used to
So you're-
any of this kind of stuff.
I
They
hate to
didn't
use
even
the
allow
term.
they didn't have electricity.
Yeah,
out
did you
there.
have that? I can understand now. You didn't have electricity. You had to go to school on a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah.
And you grew up learning how to make sheds, for backyard
Well,
sheds. With
your
the,
dad
with the,
goes by what's his
the
handle
Amish
again?
twerp, right?
The
Yeah.
Amish Terp. Yeah,
Terp.
he's a great follower.
Because he's a
on Twitter.
Maryland fan, right?
Right, he went to Maryland.
So that's why he's the Amish Terp.
Yes.
Not twerp.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Terp.
Amish twerps.
What does terp mean?
The terrapins, the Maryland terrapins, the turtle. So it's a terrapin.
Gotcha.
Come
Is
on,
he
Robin, you're an
listening right
animal
now?
fan.
What's that?
Is your dad listening?
Yeah, I told him I would be on, and
Is he on Twitch.tv watching?
He
and
doesn't. Again, he's from Lancaster, so he doesn't really understand.
Do you have
technology.
you have internet out there
So
now,
what
right?
you need to do,
I think we do.
You need to draw him like little drawings so that he can follow the step-by-step instructions.
You guys
Because
have dial-up, or do you have like regular internet?
We
out
haven't
there?
even got to dial up yet. No, we're not there.
Collins 21. I like that our listeners are taking an active participation in helping us grow the show. So Collins 21 saying, "Hey everyone, push the share button at the bottom right. Share the link to all of your social media platforms."
Exactly right.
Because sharing is caring, and that's how we spread the word, spread the love, spread the Bruno Nation.
So even though Ryan's dad, the Amish Turk,
Yeah.
was a fan of the show for many years.
Yes.
And I understand there's a lot of young people. I'm not saying everybody should know who I am.
Well, they should.
But everybody under the age of, everybody from like, we had 13-year-olds who used to call the show who've grown up and then moved on in their lives.
I know.
So it's not like I'm so old that you couldn't have possibly been around when I was on. You're 23. So 10 years ago, you would have been 13. Teenagers are very active. So how did you not know about the Did you ever play video games growing up?
Again, we couldn't get internet, so we
No, I'm
didn't
being
do
serious.
that.
Are you joking? No, this is your joke.
No, I really didn't. I really did not play video games, and I
was
wasn't really
raised
into
well.
radio. I wasn't really into sports radio at the
Okay.
time, and like I would watch the games, but I wasn't quite there. I'd play sports, but he introduced me to you, and obviously I took a liking to what you did, and I've
Well,
been
it's only a
following-
natural
I've been
instinct.
following you ever since, and
Well, thank you. I'm only kidding with you. I'm
Oh, I
busting
know.
the chops. We're so proud of you. We're proud of anybody
Yes.
who ever has any kind of association with the show, moving on and doing great things in life.
In all honesty,
Even Luigi. I mean, we're proud of him. I mean, most of the time, and then every once in a while,
I want to throttle him.
every once in a while, he does something where you want to push him
Terribly,
away.
Terribly wrong.
You want to push him away, but then he sucks you back in. You know what I mean?
Yep.
We have, and Luigi points out, we have 60-year-olds that act like 13 that call into the show.
Yeah.
See, when I watch Joel Embiid, I look at myself. I'm not 7'3", and I'm not a great basketball player, but I see a man.
But other than that, you're exactly the same.
Other than that, he's a grown-ass man. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm a lot older. But you see what he does? He acts like a child.
Yes. Oh, but
And that's
you
not an
act like a
immature.
child
I'm not talking
all
about
the time.
immature child. I'm talking
Oh,
about.
I am.
Well, I'm an immature, but I'm saying it doesn't matter what age you are. My point is, you can be
Yes.
the best professional at whatever you do, whether you're a plumber or you can be anybody. But if you still feel like you're a young person and like a child, like you still act like a child, don't you, Ryan?
for sure.
Robin
Absolutely.
acts like a child.
Free Flyer 54 just said one of your favorite lines.
Ever seen a grown man naked? Of course, that's from the great. Now you saw Airplane, right? The great scenes from the movie Air. It's on the
don't
internet now.
You know what? Don't ask him
I'm not
these
going to
questions.
ask
You're
him
just going to
anybody.
be disappointed.
I feel
Tony.
like I'm doing Craig Shoemaker's act when he's up on the stage
Yeah.
and he's like makes a reference to something from the 80s, and then he has to remind younger
Yeah.
people, and they go, "Well, that was a show from the 80s on
Yeah. And
on
he
Nick
goes,
at Night."
okay, 18.
Yeah, exactly. Surely you can't be serious. But being from the Amish country, Bob from Valley Forge points out, I'm sure Ryan has an edge on the ponies. Will he be picking the superfecta today?
Not sure.
Now, did you have horse? Now, did you live in rural Lancaster? Because everybody, when they hear Amish country, because there's Amish country in Indiana,
Yes.
but Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Dutch country, which has nothing to do with Dutch people.
No, it does
as
not.
Robin learned when we went up there.
No, I already knew this.
You already knew about the Pennsylvania
I
Dutch
already knew
country?
that well, because I do have Dutch heritage, and I also have Dutch ancestors who emigrated here, and I have Irish ancestors who immigrated, and Scottish ancestors.
So you're a runt, basically.
I am. I'm a total runt. But I already knew that the Pennsylvania Dutch were actually, it was a mispronunciation of the Pennsylvania Deutsch, the Deutsch that were living here. They were speaking, so German. It's the Germans, and they when they talk about what language they speak, they say, ich spreche Deutsch.
Yes.
And people thought Deutsch meant Dutch, and then that's how that happened.
Exactly. So that's why it's called the Pennsylvania Dutch country, and we love it up there. You drive up there, it's like another world. But where you lived growing up, did you have all the, like, there's still horse-drawn carriages on the
Right.
streets. I mean, there's still people who live old school Amish. No electricity, So that still happens, not just here in Pennsylvania, but any Amish community. Whether Indiana has a huge Amish community too. But you're not Amish though, right? Is your dad Amish?
No, none of us are Amish. My family's actually from New Jersey, and they moved out there for jobs. And I live in a neighborhood, but if you go about 2 minutes outside our neighborhood, there's Amish buggies everywhere.
Love that, man. I love that.
Are the schools integrated so that they have so they have their own schools?
They have their own old school, like 1700s little schoolhouses, and every Sunday they walk to church.
Right.
So you'll have to pass all these Amish buggies. It's a pain in the ass. It really is.
Are you ripping the Amish?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I
because,
just wanted to check.
Because like
you wouldn't have good scrapple. I mean, the Amish. Look at the great stuff they bring. The great bakers. Two things. When you think of things that the Amish do better than pretty much anybody, there's a lot of great bakers, but Amish bakers are phenomenal.
Yes, they are.
But you know what else Amish do? They build wooden structures better than anyone. There are major construction people who call in Amish craftsmen to do their work on any kind of woodwork. Exactly. They raised the brown. They were raising the roof before raising the roof was cool.
Needlepoint.
You know what I'm saying?
Needlepoint, like quilting.
Yeah.
Needlepoint and woodworking is just, and it's phenomenal because they do everything with hand tools only.
Exactly. No, I love going up. Robin and I will take rides up there over the years, and you're going back in time. And it's not that far. It's like an hour away from the city of Philadelphia. And you drive up to Lancaster in the Amish country, it's like you're in another world.
Air Repo Man. Pennsylvania Dutch ovens are not awesome.
They're not crabby people, are they? Are Amish crabby people?
They stick to themselves. We don't really have conversations.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make them crabby.
When I was there once, I actually
you want to see crabby people, you just go to Luigi, and he's Italian.
I had
a lot of shots at Luigi.
I had a little bit of a conversation with somebody because I do speak German, and it's similar. It's not the same, but it has a lot of German influence. And I was able to have somewhat of a conversation with somebody. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, and Reading, Brenda Marie's up there in Reading. It's great to travel around, even in your own state. You could be living in a major metropolitan city like Philly. California, you live in L.A., you drive out in the country, you're in another world too. So everybody thinks of big cities and urban areas, but they don't realize, a lot of people don't realize, you just drive an hour away from where you live, and you can be in another world. It's awesome. Yeah. Nowadays, unfortunately, you can be in another world around the corner from where you live because everybody's so messed up and screwed up and doesn't know what the hell's going on anymore, except for Ryan. But anyway, enough about the Amish.
Yes, and enough to all of our fantastic people who just were tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. Mm-hmm. This is our time to say goodbye to them because we need to remind them to make the switch to Twitch. Which we are on exclusively now, and it's free to follow. So all you need to do, it's simple. Everybody except for Ryan's dad can do it. Apparently,
no, he can do it.
And he'll do it.
You work at Switchboard Live, a streaming service, a video streaming, and you haven't taught your dad how to stream and do all this other stuff.
It's impossible to teach him anything.
Really?
Oh yeah.
But he's younger than I am, right?
He just doesn't quite get it. It's same if we play video games. Like Twitch is huge into video games.
Yes.
We play Fortnite, and he probably dies right away every single time.
Does he do it intentionally because he doesn't want to sit around for 2 weeks playing a game?
Yes,
that
he
might
does.
You see who else has stopped playing Fortnite?
Who?
The Boston Red Sox. Did you see that story?
No.
Because a lot of athletes now, the Sixers, the Flyers do it when they get on base and they do the wave.
Right.
But last year, the Boston Red Sox, who won the World Series, every time somebody hit a home run, they got on base, they would do Fortnite positions and dances and waves.
Uh-huh.
This year, because they suck, the Red Sox yesterday determined that there will be no more Fortnite in the clubhouse. Remember, the Phillies were criticized last year.
Yeah. Well, no, actually.
No, it was what's his name? Santana.
Yeah, he was saying, look, you guys need to.
No, this is after he left. He didn't say it while he was here. But remember, Carlos Santana, who was the Phillies' first baseman last year, was only here for a season. He moved on in the offseason. And so they were asking him about what was wrong with the Phillies because they crashed and burned at the end of the season last year. And he said too many young guys are playing Fortnite and not paying attention to the game. But that doesn't mean they weren't paying attention. If you're playing it in the dugout, or if you're playing it on the field, down the third baseline with the ball
you shouldn't be allowed to have your phone, nothing.
No, NBA, we saw Amir Johnson had the phone. That's different. But playing Fortnite in the clubhouse, that's what younger people do now. And not even kids. I'm talking about adults are playing this game.
By the way, I just realized,
what?
Who Air Repo Man is.
Is that
That's Ken Cage.
the great Ken Cage?
Yes. Duh.
We want to thank Ken
Cage
Cage.
just started following. Thank you very much. He's found us. So if Ken Cage can do it, anybody can do it.
Exactly right.
So yes. So if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, this is now it's time to say goodbye
To all our family. Tony Bruno
No,
family.
Make the switch to Twitch. Just log on to twitch.tv/BrunoNation Live. Set up a quick little account. It's free. Create some fun.
Yeah, you won't
handle.
be getting spam calls all day from people that you don't know or want to talk to. You're not gonna get emails every 10 seconds. You're gonna get emails to remind you when we're coming on,
or notifications on
notifications
your
on
phone.
your phone.
As long as you follow. So
Exactly.
make sure you followed at least, and then if you want to support the show further because we're fabulous, then you subscribe. And if you have Amazon Prime, you link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and you get a Twitch Prime for free, and then you can follow or subscribe to BrunoNation Live for free. Free is great.
Now we're getting shout outs to the Shady Maple Smorgasbord up there. I don't know where that is. Do you know where that is, Ryan?
Yeah, it's right outside Lancaster. It's known for the shoe fly pie, if you want to have that.
Shoe fly pie. Say that fast 5
Yeah,
times.
I couldn't even say it.
I love that. I love the Amish. When we go to Reading Terminal Market here, there's a lot of Amish and Mennonite people in there baking. I mean, these people are hardworking. You know, if you're going to knock